Spring has sprung and I am ready to knit all the things for spring because it's one of my favorite seasons, aside from the fact that I struggle with seasonal allergies, but it's been less bad this year since our move away from almond tree farms. We live near one of the biggest almonds producers in the country, and yeah, I barely survived, but it's not as bad now, but that's fine. I have a lot of plans, as per usual. When do I not have a lot of plans? But that's okay. It's fun to make these. It's fun to go over what I want to make and what I would like to hopefully have in my closet by the end of spring. I have all of my yarns here, and I have a couple of projects that I have already been working on, and I'm ready to chat about my spring knitting plans. It'll come as no surprise that a lot of these are going to be Sandnes Garn patterns because that's just my favorite. They're just my favorite, patterns to knit. Speaking of, I am wearing the Cleo Sweater, which is a pattern from Sandnes Garn's summer collection last year, and this is one of my favorite knits of 2025, and I love it. I want to make another one. It's knitted with Lina in 2 separate colors. I can't remember the names, but all of the information is on my Ravelry, and I will do my best to also include it down below. So if you're interested in the specifics, it'll be down below and also on my Ravelry. So yes, this is the Cleo. I knitted this with Lina on 3.5mm needles, and I loved every bit of making this, and I love wearing it. I love all the details. I love the wide sleeves. I love the folded cuff on the inside. I love how I did the stripes on the inside. It looks like candy cane almost, if I can't get it to show very well, but I just really like this. Okay, enough about what I'm wearing. I do want to make another one of these this summer. As much as I like the stripes, I feel like I could use a solid one, and it's a great pattern. Highly recommend. So like I said, the majority of these patterns will most likely be Sandnes Garn, and then some Petiteknit, and then another favorite designer that I have is CocoAmour Knitwear. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It would mean so much to me, and it'll really help me and motivate me and help my channel grow. And yeah, you can follow me on other social media platforms such as Instagram. I am on Ravelry, and that's really it where I'm active on. I'm not very active on many other places. All right, let's actually get started now. In no particular order, but I will start with what I am working on currently and a few of the whips that I have. So I might have shared this already. I'm pretty sure I shared this already on my last episode at the very end, that I had cast on a new Sandnes Garn project from the recent winter collection, I guess, but it's the 26-0 something, and it is the Mina Sweater. So I really haven't made much progress on this, but I am really enjoying this pattern. It's a very straightforward, very easy thus far, and I feel like I've knitted this construction so many times with their patterns, but it is a European shoulder construction sweater where the neck, the turtleneck comes up, but there's an opening and some buttons along the side here. I'll include a picture so you know what I'm talking about. But I fell in love with this pattern the moment I actually saw them share it on social media. This is a brown version, and they also have a mint version in double Sunday, which is the version that I am knitting. I'm knitting this with double Sunday and alpaca full thread in mint. Let me double check what the colorway number is. Mint green, 7911. So I have these balls of yarn here that I am working with, and I am about halfway down, more than halfway down actually, the back. But I'm at like the halfway point from here, from where I finished the shoulder shaping. I really love the European shoulder construction. It honestly, like, it's very straightforward. You're doing German short rows and increases on this pattern almost simultaneously. So you're doing a German short row, you're knitting like 1 or 2 stitches, doing a German short row, turning the work, then purling back, then knitting, and right after you finish, you resolve that first German short row, you do an increase, and it just creates that slope there. To be honest, I don't think the German short rows is necessary as you're doing the increases here, but I mean, it works and I like it, so it's really not that big a deal. I did notice where I had done a German short row twice, like I did it here, and I might have like knitted back and put my work down, or purled back and put my work down, and forgot that I had done a German short row, and I did it again, and it kind of created an untidy little bump there, but really it doesn't matter. I really don't care. And so yeah, so I am knitting this on 5.5 millimeter needles, so this should hopefully, once I pick it back up and actively start working on it, it should go pretty quickly. And this is my first plain and current whip, the Mina Sweater from Sandnes Garn. And I love this color. I don't have anything in this shade in my closet, and I'm actually really, I saw the color, they released it this year, and I was like, I need that. So yeah, they've recently shared their summer, the Lina, Tynn, and Mandarin Petite yarns with their updated color cards, and I need some of them too because I just really love that color. It's so pretty. All right, let's see. That's the Mina Sweater, and then the second project that I have on my list is the Bea Blouse, B-E-A. I don't know if it's Bea or Bea. I know somebody named B-E-A, and her name is pronounced Bea, so I'm gonna go with Bea. So the Bea Blouse from Petiteknit, and my plan is to use this Explorer Knits and Fibers Soy Alpaca Lace held together in the colorway. Isn't it's good to see me, isn't it? From their first Wicked pre-order collection. And I might have a bit of a theme going here because I see I have 3 EKF yarns, Explore Knits and Fibers yarns, and then the rest is Sandnes Garn. So, actually no, one whip is not Sandnes Garn, so I think I'm okay there. Okay, the Bea Blouse from Petiteknit is a boatneck style construction. It is negative ease, which is not my most favorite. I honestly prefer neutral and maybe even a couple of inches of positive ease over negative ease. But I really love the style of this, and I think I will make it a size up than what I normally do, so it's not too constricting. And it is worked seamlessly from the top down with a boat neck. Short rows are worked at the neck to raise the back. The yoke is shaped first with increases for the sleeves and then with rising increases. The body is worked in the round and stockinette, and then sleeves are worked at the end. Her sample photo isn't the most exciting to me. I like black. I wear a lot of like black sweatshirts and stuff, but for a knit piece, I feel like I need a little bit more color, especially if it's spring. So that's why I'm gonna go with this, and this is just, I was debating what blouse I wanted to knit this yarn with, and I was deciding between the Bea Blouse, the Cumulus Blouse, the Cumulus Blouse O-neck, which I've made 3 of those Cumulus blouses already. I have 3. I've made one the past 3 years, 2025, 2024, 2023. And I was like, I'm getting a little bit tired of knitting that, so maybe not that one again anytime soon. So I decided to go with the Bea Blouse because I really like the neck. I really like the boat neck, and honestly, Sandnes Garn came up with a pretty similar design. I can't remember the name of it, but I didn't end up getting that pattern from the collection. I ended up just not getting it because I was like, I think I have the Bea Blouse pattern already because I purchased it when she dropped it because I liked it. I like the style. I love like that very high but wide neck of the boat neck, and so I was like, I'm just gonna knit the Bea Blouse. Why not? So, and you can't go wrong with the Petiteknit pattern. So yeah, that is my second plan, the Bea Blouse. The next thing that I have is a whip, and it is a test knit for CocoAmour knitwear. I have been working on this for the past maybe almost week and a half. I started this last week. What's the date today? Today, yeah, I started on the 1st, so almost 2 weeks actually. This is an all over, somewhat chunky gauge, cable and texture top-down sweater, and I am having so much fun with this pattern. I'm just really enjoying it. I have a few errors that I couldn't be bothered to fix, but the yarn is really light and the sun is actually shining very brightly right now, and I don't know if you can see it, but I kind of just, this is kind of supposed to be garter along here, and I just, along this panel here, and I just forgot, and I just had 3 rows of stockinette, so it's really not that big a deal. I don't care. I don't mind. I'm almost done with this ball of yarn, these 2 balls of yarn. I'll talk about the yarn what I'm using in a minute, but once I'm finished with these, I think I want to go and pick up the collar, which I did recently, and I kind of enjoyed doing that, and I didn't like struggle with the neck or the collar when I did it that way. But yes, that is my 3rd plan. And did I name this? This is the Black Forest sweater, and this is a test knit. The test knit ends the beginning of April, but I am going to be working on this exclusively come these next 2 weeks, and hopefully finish this really soon. It's already warming up here, so I don't know that I get a whole lot of wear out of this, but I really love this color. Okay, I am knitting this with Atlas from Sandnes Garn and Tynn Silk Mohair, and they're the color, I think they're different colorways actually. Yes, so the Atlas is 2001. It's like a soft lemon. It is really hard to pick up. Oh my gosh, it looks white on camera. And then the Tynn Silk Mohair is 2101, which it's also a soft yellow, and it's softer than the Atlas. I'm really enjoying knitting with Atlas. I talked about knitting with Atlas in my last video. One of the sweaters that I finished was knitted with Atlas, and I had a really fun time using that yarn. I didn't really find it too rustic or anything, and It's definitely softer than Peer Gynt in my opinion. Definitely no itch. And I really liked it. So I was really eager to use that yarn again with some Tynn Silk Mohair for this test knit. And I'm really enjoying this pattern. It's not easy to memorize because I do have it memorized now. But when I started, I had to look at the chart every row to make sure I was, because these segments are different, individually different. Yeah, it's fine. It took a minute for me to memorize the chart, but I have it mostly. I have to glance back from time to time to see that I'm actually doing it what's correct. And I think that's how I made the mistake on this side, because I might have just gotten too excited and just kept going without actually paying attention to the pattern. Okay, the next thing that I have is another CocoAmour knitwear design, and that is the Audrey Jacket. So I'll insert a picture here because I have not cast on, and I have been so wanting to start this project, but I'm going to wait until I finish this one and then maybe the Mina Sweater as well. But the Audrey Jacket is I have it on my Ravelry. I didn't print it out yet. Let me read the notes on this. The Audrey Jacket is knitted from the top down in stockinette stitch. First, the back is worked back and forth, and then stitches are picked up from the cast on edge to form each shoulder. Short rows are used to achieve the shoulder drape. The shoulders are then joined to the back and worked back and forth to your desired length before finishing with an I-cord edge. Then stitches are picked up along the armhole for the sleeves, and short rows are worked to provide further shoulder shaping before working around. Then the cuff is ended with an I-cord, and then stitches are picked up along each side of the jacket front to work the button bands. I am not going to be putting buttons on, and I'll show the yarn that I'm going to be knitting with. And like I said, I have a few EKF projects lined up. This is Don't Lose Sight of Who You Are, also from their Wicked pre-order collection, and this is Boucle DK. I have not worked with Boucle in a really long time. I've done a few Boucle projects back in the day, but it's been years since I've used Boucle yarn. So I've forgotten what it was like to knit with the yarn. So like my memory is not there, and I haven't heard the best things about using Boucle yarn. So I'm not like super excited to use the yarn, but I am excited about the project, and I'm excited about my modification that I am doing for this project. So instead of button bands, I'm going to use a zipper. I have the zipper here. I forgot to mention that for the bands, you don't use the Boucle yarn. And I have this leftover double Sunday that I knitted a vest for my son last year. This is a full ball and a little bit left, and I am thinking it should be enough. And if this isn't enough, I do have some Sunday that I can hold double, but I feel like it's close enough. It's a different dye lot, but it's close enough that it'll be fine. And this is Matcha from Petiteknit, the Sandnes Garn Petiteknit collaboration colorway. Okay, and this is the zipper that I have. It is not the greatest match, but honestly, I think even like with like these three greens together, it should be fine. I'm not like worried about super major color discrepancies or anything like that. I'm just gonna go with it and just knit it and enjoy it. So I probably won't knit on that this month, but I really want that. That is also something that's going to be super warm, and I probably will not get too much wear out of it before we hit summer. So that is okay. I'm okay with that. I just really want to have this jacket with a zipper in my closet. And I feel like the zipper should be long enough. This, I forget what size zipper this was, but that is not super important right now. The next thing that I have on my spring knitting plans list is the April cardigan from Petiteknit. I said this was going to be a Sandnes Garn and Petiteknit heavy episode, and also Explore Knits, because I am going to be using this gorgeous, gorgeous corally orange-ish dreamsicle color. It is called dreamsicle. So I've had this yarn in my yarn collection for years. I think when she came out with like the summer ice cream collection, and that was probably like 3 or 4 years ago. And it's been sitting and it's been taunting me, and I really want to use it. Like, I know it might not be the best for my skin tone, but I don't care. I just really want to knit this color. I've already wound up both the Cereal Alpaca and the Cashmere Caverns socks yarn, and I really want to cast this on. So the project, did I say the project? The April cardigan, yes I did. I want to cast this on the beginning of April. I don't know that I can actually do that, but I'll try. I will definitely try to stick to that plan and cast on at the beginning of April and hopefully finish it before the end of April. So that is hopefully the plan. And that is my 5th plan. And then the next thing that I want to knit is another Sandnes Garn pattern. Because, like I said, I really love their patterns. I have to really organize my desk now because it's very cluttered. And I want to knit the Aria cardigan. Nope, the Aria Sweater. And this was just released in their 2602, their second collection of the year, 2602, and it is pattern number 5. This is knitted with the pattern color. The sample is the one that I'm using from a Mina Sweater, and I love that color, but I am going for more of a maritime vibes because I feel like I really like that for spring and summer, but I don't actually have anything for myself in my closet that's like a navy and white color. And like I said, I didn't say. The yarn recommended is Alpaca Focal Thread and Tynn Silk Mohair. I am not going to be using that. Instead, I'm going to be knitting it with these 2 yarns. And it's not going to be, I'll talk about the gauge in a second. This is Double Sunday in the whipped cream color, and then Sunday, I don't have any Double Sunday in the navy, but I have a couple of balls of Sunday that I can hold double. And this is the Petiteknit, also the Petiteknit color, number 5591. So I have an overabundance of this Double Sunday whipped cream that I purchased from when I went to San Diego years ago, when it had just come out, and I just went a little crazy, and I have quite a bit of this, and I've also used quite a bit of this Double Sunday yarn, but it is one of my favorites. I love Double Sunday. I love the off-white, the cream rather, and yeah, I really want to have a maritime Aria sweater. So it's not really a dilemma, but the gauge is 23 stitches, no, 22 stitches, yes, with both of those yarns held together, the alpaca and the Tynn Silk Mohair. And because it is knitted on 3.5 millimeter needles, it's a 22 stitch gauge on 3.5. So I've knitted the Leah cardigan from Sandnes Garn last spring. I actually have it here. So I knitted this last spring, and this is definitely a mint, but it's not the same shade as this by any means. That's completely different. So it is knitted with 3.5 and double Sunday, and my gauge for this garment is 22 stitches. So I'm confident that I am able to meet gauge with this yarn on the 3.5mm needles and not be off gauge or significantly off gauge. I am confident that I'll be fine with knitting this, and I'm really excited about this because I just wanted something like this in my closet. I've wanted it for a really long time, and I get to have it now. I get to make it myself. All right, the last actual garment that I have is also another whip that is also another Sandnes Garn project. I have talked about this multiple times before, I think in both of my last 2 episodes, and that is the Zoe Zipper Genser. I talked about running into some problems with my stitches and then frogging a bit, and then so I have since gone back and picked up where I had frogged and continued knitting the rest of the back. So you can actually probably tell, yeah, I can see a bit of a difference from here, or is it there? Let me see, let me hold it where it's not super bright. Yeah, so I have my stitch marker there from where I had frogged it, or progress keeper rather, and you can see there's a bit of a difference between here and here from where I had frogged it, and that's because I had steam blocked this. I don't think my gauge really changed or anything, it's just I had steam blocked it and then ripped it out and then knitted back where I had ripped out from, but I haven't steam blocked it since. So this is an all over fisherman's rib, half fisherman's rib rather, zipper sweater, quarter zipper sweater, sorry. So yes, this is, I've completed the back and I need to pick up now the shoulders. I marked from where the short shaping starts to where I need to pick up the shoulders, and I did the same on this side because the short shaping on the shoulders is very subtle. I'm showing you the wrong side, but you probably can't even see it because of my lighting. I can't really tell. It's so subtle that it's kind of hard to actually tell that there is any shaping, but it's there. If I hold it like this, you'll probably still not be able to tell, but let me see. Let me hold it flat this way. Can you see there's any shaping? I can't really see it either. I'm rambling again. That's the Zoe Zipper Genser. It is a all over half fisherman's rib, quarter zipper sweater, and it is knitted with Tynn Peer Gynt and Tynn Silk Mohair. I am knitting that off gauge because I wanted it to be a bit more oversized. I wanted it to be an easy throw on kind of thing, just to be cozy and head out the door. And with it being on a slightly larger gauge too, I feel like it'll be airier and actually perfect for our spring here. Alright, so I have 2 accessories because accessories are things that I told myself at the beginning of the year I want to knit one every month. I only have 2 because I'm really only counting March and April for accessories, and I'll include June for like my summer accessories. But the first thing that I want to knit in my accessories, within the accessories that I want to knit, is the Sandnes Garn. It's a Sandnes Garn pattern, and it's from this booklet. I have knitted, this is DIY 2302. I've knitted quite a few things from this pattern booklet, and I actually want to knit everything from it. I've knitted 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I counted as 10 patterns, but there are 3 patterns for one design, the Brooke cardigan. There's a Sunday and Tynn silk mohair, brush alpaca Tynn silk mohair, and Cos and Tynn silk mohair. And I've knitted the Cos. And then there's the Zoe Zipper sweater dress, and I'm knitting the Zoe sweater. So that's also in a different booklet. It's kind of confusing, I'm sorry. But the pattern that I want to knit from this booklet is the Lacey Scarf. So I will also include pictures of the on my computer screen, on the screen rather, so you can see it a little bit better. But it's a very simple, very thin scarf with some delicate lacing on it, and I really liked it. I've knitted one Sandnes Garn, 2 Sandnes Garn scarf patterns, and one of them was one of the Lacey patterns, and I found it very simple and really engaging actually to knit. So I'm really looking forward to knitting this one. And I do want to knit more scarves and more little accessories like that this year, and there's so many out there, and it's hard to just like decide which one I want to knit. But I already had this one, so I was like, I'm gonna knit that one. And then the last accessory that I want to knit is a work in progress from a really long time ago. I'm just going to be, I don't even remember the stitches, so I'm gonna have to like go back to the pattern and just just relearn it, I guess. But it is the French Market Bag from Petiteknit, and I've had this on these needles for I don't know how long. It's been a really long time. I have the yarn just sitting in the bag. And it is quite a bit of yarn left actually. The only reason this has been sitting is because I have not enjoyed knitting with this yarn, and it's the Isager Cotton Bomulin or something like that. And I actually didn't realize that it would feel very much like, I don't know, like knitting with twine. I mean, it doesn't really feel like knitting with twine, but I just don't enjoy the knitting experience of this yarn, really. And so it's been sitting for a while. But I love this color, and I kind of feel like I've been, oh, you know what? I'll go back to my Lacey scarf because I forgot to share my yarn. I'm sorry. But yeah, I don't remember how to make the stitch. I don't remember it being hard at all. I remember it being fairly easy, but it's just, I feel like I remember passing it over, and it was just with the yarn and on these very smooth needles, metal needles, which I'm very fond of actually. I don't really care for wooden needles. But yeah, I do want to finish it because I've had it for such a long time in my whips pile that it really needs to get off. And I want to actually use up as much of the yarn as I possibly could. So I feel like I'm gonna knit it for a while. And then I will sew a liner on the inside, attach it, and then I have the leather straps that I purchased from the Petiteknit website a really long time ago. So I do want to finish this. I just don't enjoy it. And it's knit from the bottom up. You cast on, and then you do some increases, and then you start this I don't even remember what it's called actually, and I don't have the pattern handy, so forgive me. I'll go back to the Lacey scarf because I forgot to share the yarn that I want to use. And I want to use this yarn. It calls for Sunday and Tynn silk mohair, and I feel like I have enough of this yarn to knit a sweater. I initially bought this yarn to do the Aria with the collar, the Aria sweater with the collar, that I am now going with this yarn. But I bought this yarn, and this is the lemonade yellow that they released this year. Yes, it is lemonade. It's 9602, both the Tynn silk and the Sunday. So I don't think I'll use up all of this yarn, but I'll have enough left over to actually knit a size medium sweater with the remaining of this yarn, if that makes sense. But I probably won't get to the rest of this anytime soon, even though it is a gorgeous color and I really am enjoying yellow this year. I'm knitting this, and I'm knitting the test knit for CocoAmour knitwear. They're not this, it's hard to tell. It is so hard to show with my lighting, but this is a lot brighter than the Atlas. And that is really it. I have like a pile of patterns that I really want to get to, but I feel like there's a few more patterns that I would love to knit this spring, but I don't think I'll get to them because one, time, and two, I probably will not get much wear out of them because they're more chunkier and thicker weight garments. And one of them that I'm thinking of in particular is the apple flower, the I'm sorry if I'm butchering this name, Abel Blomst, and the designer is Clara Eggers, and it's the pattern from the Lina magazine, that 52 weeks of sweaters, is that what it is? Something like that. I had the digital copy of it and of the Lina magazine book, and there's so many patterns in there that I want to make. And then the other one that I'm thinking of is the Midsummer, which is also a Lina magazine pattern from their Moomin. Is it? Yes, the Moomin collaboration with Moomin. And I don't have enough time. I don't have enough hands. So those are going to have to just wait until I'm ready. But they're both gorgeous, super gorgeous designs, colorwork designs. And I feel like the Midsummer, is that what it is? The one I'm thinking of with the floral colorwork along here. And that is knitted on 3.5mm needles. So it could potentially be a perfect spring knit, but I'm already knitting two things on 3.5mm needles this spring. So I don't think I can add a third. I will definitely run out of time. But those are my plans. I had wanted to get into my, a roundup of what I did for winter. I did knit about 6 out of my 10. Oh, 7 out of 10 of my winter knits. 7 out of the 10? Let me actually, I think I'll just double check that. Let's see. My winter holiday gift knitting plans were Vienna blouse, Christmas pudding mitts, cookie parade sweater, Calgary Bay sweater. I knitted 4 out of 4, and then I wanted to knit the rookie sweater, which I didn't knit. I knitted 2 weekend hats, and I wanted to knit the red sweater, which I didn't knit. I knitted the Hannah sweater, but I ended up doing a Hannah Onak. I wanted to knit the Moline, and I wanted to knit my own design, and I wanted to knit the Sandnes Garn Wilbur cable sweater. So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, I didn't knit 3. And that was the Rookie Sweater Paljeet edition from Sandnes Garn, the Red Sweater Junior for my son, which I still need to do, and the Wilbur sweater. So actually that's pretty good. I'm content with that. I think that was good. Yeah, and speaking of the Wilbur sweater, they just released the Loom sweater, which is another really gorgeous cable, all over cable design. I do want to knit that, which will come as no surprise. But I'm also excited for the Petiteknit's new cable design, the Sage sweater. Is that what she's calling it? I can't remember. I feel like I've seen it on her Instagram, but I can't remember now. But yeah, I actually got through a lot of my winter knitting plans. So I am hopeful that my spring knitting plans can go as well as my winter knitting plans did. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for sticking around and listening to me ramble about what I would love to knit in these next 2.5-ish months or so. If you haven't already, like I said, please like and subscribe. It really helps motivate me to keep making videos and to keep coming on here and just sharing what I'm working on and what I'm making. But I will be updating hopefully every 2-ish weeks or so. I'm going to try to stick to that. I said that in the past and I failed miserably. And I mean, life is busy. I apologize. I was rambling quite a bit and my camera card ran out of space, so I had to delete some videos and adjust. I really hope to be back soon. I can't remember if I said it or not, but I really want to record and upload a video every 2 weeks. I'm going to try to stick to that. And I'll be back soon, hopefully, and I appreciate you being here so much. I appreciate you watching. If you've made it this far, thank you, and I will see you next time. Thank you again.